Good morning, Keller Williams. It's time for another Command Quick Tip. And to end the week, we are going to be going over creating an opportunity. So, for those of you new in Command, these opportunities, these are your transaction management in Command or your file where you're going to keep all your documents for your transaction. Now, you'll notice first off, right when you get into opportunities, there's two pipelines that we're really going to be concerned with, listing and buyers. So this tells you immediately you're going to be splitting up your transactions between listing and buyers. So if you have even a double side transaction where you have the listing and the buy side for one particular transaction, we will make two opportunities. Now, it is kind of important that you sort of know what's going on with this pipeline. There's 5 phases: cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed. And those are the same for both pipelines. You will have to choose one of those options once you go to create an opportunity. And let's say underneath it, so I'm going to do active here. When you click into one of those larger phases, those 5 phases we have up top, there are smaller stages underneath. Now the phases you can't change, but the stages you can. There's this edit stages button at the top. If you click this, you can delete stages, you can add more, you can edit the name, you can add checklist items if you really want to get specific with your process and make sure you're doing things at a certain step in the transaction. Because the idea is, let's say for this listing, if I'm showing, well, once I get a contract and we're under contract or we're in negotiations, I can move this over, just drag it over to negotiations, and I've now proceeded in the transaction. I can do the same thing, drag it up to under contract. You see it kind of lights up in blue when you're on it correctly. Let it go. And now I've moved that particular listing opportunity into under contract. You can see under contract has different stages underneath. So it's meant for you to customize these stages so it reflects how you do business. But at the very least, you need to know what the phases are so you can move it through the transaction. The active phase is very important for getting your DA. So when you go to request commissions or do your green sheet, it must be active at least. So let's go ahead and create one. So create opportunity. And then it pulls up this form. It's a very basic form. You're just going to fill out whatever you have right now. Now, if it has a little red star next to it, that means you have to fill it in. So I have to choose a type: listing, buyer. Like I said, we're not going to worry about the other two. That's for leases. So I'm going to keep it a listing for now. Client name, they do have to be entered in your contacts. So it's very important that contacts is the first place you start. If they don't exist here, so let's say, let's do, sure, why not John Cena, right? I don't know why that comes to mind, but you can see none of these are John Cena. He's not in my database. Now they're all popping up because there's a John in there, right? But I could not proceed from this point. I would need to add him to my database. So add him in under the contact section in Command. But I'll just go back and pick myself. Of course, if you have a co-seller, add them. The name, that's for your reference, so you can really put whatever you like there. It defaults to the name of your client, dash listing or dash buyer, whatever you're doing. Tags, you can add tags. So if you want to do like a first-time home buyer or an investor or something, you can tag these opportunities. That's not super important, but just know that you can do that. Now, estimated close date, estimated list price, you may or may not have that, so fill it in if you do. Your commission rate, this is going to be 3% typically, but this is just the list side of the transaction, right? So that's why it's 3 and not 6. Now, for the phase, you can only choose the first 3: cultivate, appointment, or active. You cannot start straight at under contract or closed. So, just depending on where you are, if you haven't even had the appointment, we might still be cultivate. If you've scheduled the appointment, you're going on the appointment, we'd probably be an appointment. And of course, active is active on the market, right? Looking for a buyer or for a seller. This is either staging or selling or whatever we've set up here. Now, at the bottom, you'll only see this for teams. If you need to assign other people, the staff is a team, so we could test out some of these functions. So that's just for teams. So if you're not a team, don't worry about it. So fill out everything with the little red stars, hit create, and I have now created my opportunity. So I can start saving documents in here. I'm really working on it. You can get into DocuSign or Dotloop through here, so that way they're connected to Command. But immediately, the first thing you probably want to fill out once you can is this property section right here. This is how your MCAs or your leadership or anybody who might need to see this for some reason can find this opportunity. Make sure you're filling in this address information. There's these little pencil icons. It might be kind of hard to see, but the little pencil icons at the top of each one of these boxes, that's your edit button. So if you want to edit, edit any of this information, you can click that and just start typing it in. So I'm going to do, let's just do the office, Sam East Campbell. And you can see it searches Google, finds it for me, plugs it right in. If you're not finding the address because maybe it's a new build, just type it in and hit save. It should work just fine. Now, the final thing I want to go over today is this Documents tab. This is where all the compliance happens. So this is where you're submitting your documents for compliance to review. You can see there's this grayed out button that says Submit to MC. Once I upload a document, that button will light up and I can click it. So you're really just going through this list and adding whatever you need to. So whatever pertains to that, whatever documents pertain to that transaction, hit add a file and upload it. It has to be in PDF. You can also do add item at the top of this list and add whatever you like. Big tip here, over on this left-hand side, make sure you're in the right checklist. So listing documents first, contract documents next, then your closing documents. So be sure you're uploading them in the right place. But if y'all are getting those notifications from Amy saying upload everything to Command, this is exactly what she wants you to do. Upload your documents here and then hit your submit button. So that's a quick and the quick and dirty way to get into opportunities, but it's not too hard. You guys get in there and play around. Of course, if you have any questions, need any help, reach out to me. I'm here to help. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great weekend.